What's up, everybody? Welcome to AEW Uncensored. I'm here with my man, Alan. We are the Bridge and Tunnel Connect, Nolan Hash. And of course we are always going to be the beast from the East.
With the least research.
I don't know if we could keep the beast from the East, though, now that I say that, when you go back West. But you are an East Coast guy.
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah, bread and butter.
You grew up here, most of your life here.
Exactly.
So, okay.
It's from, so that's fine.
There you go. That's true. John Lupinoff in the chat. What up, brother? Good to see you again. Thank you for the shout, as always, to start the show. Big Dub, what up? Simon, what up? Big Dub says Stream Elements hate free speech. You are damn right. They hate punctuation. They are not grammar Nazis.
No.
We might get banned for even using that word.
Actually, yeah. We're definitely going to be demonetized for making money.
We'll do like AEW. We'll be late.
Yeah, we'll be late.
With the beat. Except last week when, or was it this? I don't know. Maybe I blew it, but I believe, was it last week when Jericho, some heavy words and they finally caught it? They finally caught the...
It was this past... Yeah.
They didn't accidentally forget the heavy words. So please like, share, subscribe, hit the thumb, hit the bell, send your friends to fucking do it. You do it for them on their phones. I mean, you know, that type of shit. I mean, we're at 97 subscribers.
3 to go.
I mean, we're almost a year in and we got 97 subscribers. Maybe we should rethink what we're doing.
Well, I guess we'll talk
about that. Yeah, but I mean, all joking aside, listen, I get it. Some people don't YouTube podcasts. Like this actually, the live version of this wasn't even, it was just like, we're doing it, so why don't we just do it live so anybody who wants to watch it live can do it live. You know, and the reality is our main like my main thought when we did this was the podcast version, the audio version. So it's cool to have whatever we have. Like, we love our dudes in the chat. We love the AEW Uncensored fam chat.
Absolutely.
You know, and everybody who does watch it doesn't really get in the YouTube chat with us live, but they are watching live. We appreciate that. But again, most of our listens come on the podcast, and that was our main deal with this. Kind of just figured, you know what, why not put it live as well? So anyway, and fucking way off on the beaten path. Uncensoredalliance.com, that's where you get everything we do. Email us anytime you want, AEW Uncensored Podcast @gmail.com. Questions, comments, statements, whatever the fuck, I don't care. You want it on air, let us know. You don't want it on air, let us know. We just want to hear from you. Facebook, AEW Uncensored Podcast. Throw it in the search bar. We have a page and a group. Like the page, join the group as always. We're on all third-party podcast applications, so just search us and we will pop up. We are also on Google Podcasts, Deezer, TuneIn, Stitcher, iHeart Radio, and of course iTunes. Please leave us a review. Big Dub, finally saw your review. I gave your review 1 star. Because you tried to take the shine from our podcast by giving props to your own podcast. I'm joking because you did give me 5 star. So
thanks, Big Dub.
And of course, you want to join the show you have something you want to say about AEW for that week or previous weeks or whatever. Join us on Skype. That's how you get on the show as a guest. So, as a calling guest. So you have to get on Skype, get with us on Skype. Links in the description of the podcast and the YouTube. So get on it. Let's see what we got in the chat real quick. A lot of pleasantries between the gentlemen. There's no Shake today, and I think Bake bailed on us. I think Bake's done with us.
That's sad. Bake was one of the founders of the HWO, man.
He really was. He really was. Who was the other guy early on? Him and Bake were like the very first guys. The name will come to me, but it's because I remember the name. I just, for some reason, I can't.
I can't remember.
I don't know my memory. but I believe we had some interaction on Twitter, and he was like, "I still listen. I just wasn't doing whatever." So hopefully he's still listening. Hopefully we didn't run him off. But um, let's see. Big Dub says, "Bill, LOL. I don't know what I did." Oh, Bill trying to be Rogan. Does that make Alan Young Jamie? Um, how am I trying to be Rogan? Yeah, see, Simon goes, "Whatever happened to Jim and Kenny?" I don't know, man. Shake and bake. Somebody hit Jim up on the side.
Yeah, we gotta.
I don't have Bake's info, man. So
Yeah, we go.
I don't think I'm on connected with Kenny on Facebook or anything.
I don't think I am either, actually. I'll see if I can wake up Shake.
So miscellaneous. What do you got?
Well, got a couple things here. First of all, AEW is obviously feeling the shine from no longer competing with NXT. Their ratings went to 1.2 million this week, so that's
pretty good.
For the fact that the show was
drizzling dog
pretty
shit.
much. That says a lot. I think that they definitely were being kept down by NXT, which, you know, again, we could talk about this later. I obviously feel is the superior product. Though they had been going back and forth, and obviously they were being kept down by having competition on that night, and now they're by themselves, and it's helped them quite a bit.
The one thing that really shows up is that NXT actually still had better ratings, but their ratings still weren't that good, which kind of shows you the dynamic of AEW versus NXT, you know.
Right.
I will say that I am curious what the 7-day was or is. Obviously, I guess we can't have 7-day, but I'm curious what currently the rating is after everybody's DVR, etc. streaming. I'm curious what the rating would be now.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think they cracked 2 million or?
You know what? I don't know. I don't know if I see them. Well, let's see. Simon was just saying that they peaked at 1.47 million for the CJ versus Dax match. I mean, I don't know if I could see them necessarily getting to 2, but it's so hard to say. It's hard to say because this was relatively a big show in the sense that they had Tyson featured. So that, you know, that might have been responsible for some of the ratings. I'd like to see how they do by themselves without any special attractions and just being by themselves and seeing what happens.
Yeah, but Tyson didn't help him the week before, so.
Yeah, but he was actually featured in a match this time. So I don't know whether or not that might have gotten more. I mean, I guess it's too soon to say, really, is the long answer.
I'm really curious where the ratings were. See, because I never followed up with 7-day ratings on either show. Every once in a while, I would hear something about them, but I'm really curious what the 7-day ratings were overall.
Yeah.
Like how many about AEW would get, you know?
Yeah.
I never looked into it. Like I said, a few times I seen it. It was by happenstance, so who the fuck knows? But yeah, I mean, it's good that AEW's over 1 million now. I mean, they're, you know, I think it was close to 2.3, right? Was it 2. Or 1.26?
It was about like 1. Yeah, it was closer to 1.3. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's good. Considering the show, again, like I was surprised, but it is what it is. I really thought that AEW kind of dropped the ball with this show, considering this was the first night, and I know it was taped if I'm not mistaken. So, but you still knew. You knew last week this was going to be the week you had no competition.
Exactly.
You would think that you would want your strongest foot forward, and I felt that this show was not your strongest foot forward.
Yeah, and that's, you know, again, that ties into the larger discussion. It really makes me wonder, is this the best that they can do? Like, are they now in a plateau situation where it's just run of the mill, whatever? It's not very good, but outside of having any kind of other special attractions, I mean, I guess you and I were talking about offline, Jade Cargill, I think, is an attraction. I think
sure.
she is somebody who she could be like, she's essentially the female Brock Lesnar, where you can just have her on. You don't even have to have her on every week. And every time she does come on, that's going to bring a lot of viewers because she's fantastic. But outside of that, everything else is ho-hum and pretty much the same. And it doesn't feel like it's really getting better. It doesn't feel like it's really improving. And it doesn't feel like that they're even really caring to try to improve. It's hard to say. I don't know whether or not, they discuss in the back and maybe Tony Khan is saying like, you know what? Yeah, I think we could probably do better. Let's see how we could probably do better. I don't know if that's really happening. I think that he's in a comfort zone at the moment in terms of what he's putting out there. And he's not necessarily thinking, oh, I need to be better this week because this is our first time without competition. Or, oh, we now are timed for something else that we want to do better at. I don't know if he thinks that way.
I don't know. I kind of feel like you have to. So,
I agree. I completely agree.
I just felt it was another ball drop. What do you got next because I know you were probably going to try to get into the little bit of your rant before we started the show. And unfortunately, I didn't record it. I started the recording late. Usually I'll record ahead of the show.
That's cool.
Just so I don't forget.
We could talk about it, I guess. I mean, we're not going to discuss Dark and Dark Elevation, so we can talk about it there before we launch to Dynamite. But the other thing that I had was, so Ivelisse has apparently been let go from AEW. Mm-hmm. This is like her 5th stop in her career. It's like everywhere she goes, she seems to be let go. And
she blames her speaking up as the reason.
Yeah.
And abuse, and it's like, or speaking up about abuse. Listen, I mean, where there's smoke, there's fire. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, Ivelisse, I can't really get on your side for it. If it seems like everything I've heard is that this happens everywhere you go. There seems to be one common denominator, and it's you.
And on top of that, there wasn't really any specifics given. She called it mistreatment. That was the word that she used.
What's mistreatment? Not getting a push, not getting matches you want, like
exactly.
I mean, that's life. That's the life of a wrestler.
Yep.
You're either it or you're not.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, everybody loved Ivelisse. Like, that's all I heard before she joined or when she was just starting to get matches with AEW. I was not impressed at all. I don't care what anybody says. I was not impressed by it.
Yeah, I agree.
I just wasn't.
It wasn't.
Everybody made her like she was like like literally like. I mean, I don't consider a lot of these indie people impressive in the ring anymore. But you're trying to, like, the way people talk, you would think she was Ric Flair, where she could carry a match and do some, everything was super smooth and just look professional.
Yeah.
I really didn't feel that way when I saw her wrestle. So.
Well, there are some comments here. Simon is saying, he's saying, I disagree with your whole point here, gents. I'd love to know which point, if he's talking about maybe the whole show or whatever, but definitely get specific there, Simon, because I would love to hear about what you have to say there. Maybe we can get you on at some point for a debate. But Simon also says that she blamed Thunder Rosa for setting her up and making her look bad. Okay, I didn't hear anything about that. That's the thing. I don't see any specifics.
I think he's talking about in the past. That we're talking about current situation.
Okay.
The 7-day ratings, Dub. I don't know, man. I don't know. Otherwise, I would go and hunt it down myself. But I really don't know. That's why I said I just happen upon it occasionally, where people would say, oh, they did 1.5 or 1.7 for those DVRs and stuff. So.
Oh, and Big Dub, it's chicken rice pilaf. Good stuff for tonight.
Someone who overhyped themselves way too much. Who's that?
Ivelisse. If so, then yeah. Yeah.
All right. What else you got?
You had something else, right, that you want to discuss?
Okay. Yeah, so we have a friend, a mutual friend, me and Alan, that is heavy into going to signings and stuff locally. And he goes pretty much, I would say, almost every week, right? I mean, it
Yeah,
seems like at this
easily.
point, especially now. Um, he went to an Arn and Tully signing yesterday, I believe,
Yes.
and he was told that Tony Khan would not allow them to do video or shout outs. And they were behind drop down plexiglass or standing plexiglass, whatever. Now, he went back later for other signings that were not related with AEW, and he said there was no plexiglass, no nothing, no rules. From what he was told, because he's tight with the guy who promotes it, he said he was told that that's what Tony Khan wants. No video, no shout out. However, he also said that another place that's fairly local that does signings had Colt Cabana, and Colt didn't have any of that. So, again, I believe he was getting that second hand because he wasn't at that signing.
Mm-hmm.
But he knows some people that go to that signing. So, I don't want to get too crazy with it, but I will say that my assumption is if Colt could do what he wanted, and if Colt could do what he wanted, how do I word this? If Colt could do what he wanted and Arn and Tully couldn't do any of this, I'm assuming it might be due to their age.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe because they're older, Tony Khan doesn't want them having certain interactions, or that Tony Khan doesn't want them in his. He doesn't want them out there in videos, knowing that they're in we're in a pandemic and they're around all these people and what it might mean for them and their company, like what it'll bring to the public side, the public perception of this, you know. So I really think that that might be one of the main issues and why he is feeling this, like why he has this rule. That might be the reason the rule's there, because he doesn't want a public perception that these guys, these two older gentlemen, are here and they are interacting with all these people. Because obviously, like, let's not sugarcoat it, but let's not get too deep into it. We all know what side of the coin that AEW seems to be on, and they want to be perceived as being on what is quote unquote the right side, the right view. So and this is not just them. I won't even say them only, but it is what it is. Regardless if you agree with it or not, that's just what obvious side they are on. And we see this with other leagues. We see, like, basketball, these guys, they have no like, they're in their own bubble. They all get tested, yet they're playing up and down the court with each other, 10 guys, and now they sit on the bench and put on a mask. It's like, what the fuck are we doing? Yeah. What is the point? It doesn't make sense to me. So I really don't like, I don't know. Like, it's a perception thing at this point, and I feel that's why they're doing it. And I know I'm kind of all over the place with this. It's kind of like, this is my opinion. I don't think that this is definite, but I don't understand why they wouldn't allow video and shout outs and stuff, because obviously if you're going to do a shout out, it's going to be on a video. I just think they don't want them seen by the world as being out there interacting with people, then coming back to the show and because then they're gonna have people going, why are these guys out there interacting with all these people? They could bring COVID to the wrestlers and this and that, So it's a perception thing, and I think they're trying to steer away from that perception. I really took the long way to get to that concise point. My apologies, but maybe I'm wrong.
Did you say that Colt Cabana was was at a different venue where he was not behind plexiglass and didn't have those rules?
Yeah, from what I understand, yes.
So
it wasn't far away from there.
So I wonder if the question is it possibly the venue itself that has that rule?
No. That's why I'm saying he's friendly with the promoter of the Arn and Tully event thing, and they said this was from TK.
Oh, they told him this. Okay, gotcha.
Because I asked them to ask.
Yeah.
I asked them to get more details for me.
Yeah.
Just so I had a better feeling going into the show and discussing it. So, obviously I'm not going to say who, where, what, but that's basically where I came. And I apologize. I was a little roundabout. There was I had to mute Alan for a little bit. I'll just put it that way. But
sorry.
I could still hear, but I had to mute it for the show.
I getcha.
So
sorry.
People hear me like trying to get my thoughts, but I literally that's why I took my headphones out.
I was wondering about that myself. Sorry about that.
Because I couldn't. That's like one of the reasons I couldn't get like what I was because I couldn't think.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. But I actually like. I sounded like a fucking idiot for most of that, but once it got cleared and I was able to fucking hear myself think, yeah. But I muted you so the people on YouTube won't hear it. They'll actually hear it on the podcast version because I'm muting the YouTube through OBS,
gotcha.
And that's not how we record the audio show. So,
okay.
So people will understand when they hear it. They're like, oh, okay, that's why he couldn't think. But yeah, like my last point was the more concise. I mean, I kind of tried to beat around the bush on it, but that was why it took me a little while.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I unmuted you for your little commentary there, though. So, just in time.
Okay. No, that's cool.
But that's what I'm gathering, and I think it's a visual perception thing, which is what all these fucking sports things do now. It's like you have your little bubble, you're already tested. Why the fuck are we still wearing masks around each other? Oh, well, we have to be on the right side, the right look, the fucking, perception of the people. We have to set an example. Listen, I don't need you as an example, okay? I don't live my life off of what some fucking famous person does, I'm not going to be like, well, they're not wearing masks, so I shouldn't. If I have to wear a fucking mask, I have to wear a mask. When I go to the store, I have to wear a mask. It's life. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But you're not going to catch me wearing a mask in my car or outside or, or in my house, So for me, it's just like, it's kind of like you're trying to fucking beat a dead horse that we're tired of hearing about. So maybe, and I could be totally off. I could be way fucking off on this. I mean, that's just my perception of it. Plus, they're older. And like I said, Colt Cabana being younger, maybe it's like they're older. We want to protect them. Plus, we don't want our older guys being out. We don't want people being able to see our older guys out there in public interacting with tons of people. So then it looks like we're being irresponsible.
Yeah.
Which you're not being irresponsible. At this point, a lot of vaccines are out there. Life is life, man. I mean, we shut this fucking place down for a year now. I mean, life is life, man. We can't just fucking stay cooped up, Anyway, that's a whole nother story. So, I believe that was it for miscellaneous. Again, I apologize for the long way around that. My stammering. I think the audio people will understand it.
Yeah, I'm sorry for any distraction.
You YouTube fucking video watchers right now, go back and listen to this little segment. You'll understand. But yeah, I just was like, it's funny. I thought I could talk through it, but my brain just kept circling back and fucking. I'm no good with distractions, bro. That's why I have ADD. I was, back when I was a kid, I used to take Ritalin. Like, I couldn't concentrate. But hey, it makes for a good thing on the podcast. So, something else going on. Who is it?
Sharing a look.
Mama Bear or Papa Bear?
Papa Bear.
Yeah. He's like, I need to do something, motherfucker. Hurry your fucking podcast.
Just rewinding a bit to the comments, so Simon did answer my question. He disagrees with the whole point here, the whole show point, and and he disagrees that AEW is poop right now. Simon,
we'll get into it.
Yeah, I love you, man. You're not gonna like my take.
Simon's a very like, he's literally the AEW pie in the sky guy, and like that's how I want to be with AEW. But I also can't lie to myself and lie to people and just I can't just be like everything sunshine and rainbows. It's, Simon says, I've seen Sting in pics at signings behind plexiglass too. That could literally be the venue. What I'm saying is, I have verbal confirmation that this was a Tony Khan directive. Mm-hmm. The Sting thing could be any. Each venue might have their, like Alan said, was it a venue thing? That's why I tried to clarify. This was not just a venue thing. This wasn't a venue thing, because I've seen videos and pictures of this venue. Like I said, our boy goes there like literally every fucking week. So obviously each person has a different stipulation, but this was a directive from Tony Khan, from what I was told. The promoter told him. So this wasn't like the place just had plexiglass. Well, they had it, obviously, for anybody who wants it, but this was like a thing, the shout outs and the videos and stuff. Because my boy gets video and everything. He always gets video, gets pictures. So, so just so you know, like, I get some guys still have plexiglass and stuff. That's just probably that particular venue or state or whatever. So that's that. Big Dub, youth sports in Michigan, you are required to wear a mask, but college and semi-pro and pro sports are exempt.
See, again, that's part of it's such hypocrisy there. It doesn't make any sense that there's no consistency.
None of this makes sense.
Yeah.
But let's not get it. Let's not get too deep into it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, let's just fucking move on from it.
I agree.
Did Jimmy just respond to us? Oh, Jimmy says, yo, I'm out on a date. Look at this fucking guy getting it in. Oh, shit. Jimmy, you need to fucking put the podcast on, son.
Yeah. Play her the podcast.
Yeah, man. Jimmy out here getting it in.
So, good for Shake.
Good job, Shake. Go get your bake. Wait. I don't know if that's
no.
Yeah, that's a bad analogy.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Sorry. Shake, go get shook. How about that? Yeah, my man's out on the dating scene, huh? Good for you, pal. So, all right. I mean, let's riff a little before we get into Dynamite. Let's not get too much into the specifics of the show, but Big Dub says, who would date Jimmy? That's funny. I don't know, but I'll let you know if she's a troll later on. I'll ask for a pic. I'm just kidding. Jesus Christ. And imagine he gets with her and he's with her for 10 years and she has to hear this.
Yeah.
Shit. Oh, my God.
On their 10-year anniversary.
I feel so bad already. But I mean, listen, like Alan hit me before the show. We talk a little bit before the show as we're prepping. Sometimes we talk like steady shit, sometimes just random shit, or sometimes we just sit there in silence and do our thing. But so we were sitting there, and Alan was like, "We're gonna have to talk, man. Like after 52, like." He's like, the show's awful. And I go, what? I think I like our show. I like our show, I really wish I recorded it. I go, I like our show, He goes, no. He's like, my bad. He's like, I like our show too. I think it's great. He's like, but AEW. He's like, it's fucking awful. He's like, so I'm like, listen, yeah, I mean, I understand. There's things right now that I just feel like I put less energy into when I watch, and he's like, would you? I don't want to put words in your mouth. You said it's like a chore. Like, am I right?
Yeah.
I'm not putting words in your
So
mouth, right? It's
yeah, like, and I'll use it. I brought up as an example. You got Salamonster, who's obviously one of the biggest names in this game. And he is somebody who has gone on record to basically say that he considers WWE a chore to watch. That if he did not have this show of his, which is obviously very successful, pulling in a lot of revenue.
he makes a lot of money per show.
Exactly.
So we're not making a fucking cent.
Right.
I'm losing money doing this show because it wastes my fucking daily time.
Right. So
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And he's been very upfront about that, to basically say, look, I think for the last few years now, he seemed to have this opinion ever since Raw went to 3 hours. He's like, show is shit. It's awful.
But Raw's been 3 hours for fucking decades, hasn't
No.
it?
It was only about like 10 years ago that it happened.
You sure?
Positive.
I could have.
Positive.
Oh, Nitro was
3. Raw went to 2.
I loved every second
Actually,
of it.
2012. Raw went to 3 hours in 2012, so almost 10 years of it.
I loved every second of Nitro for 3
Yeah,
hours.
see, well, that's the thing. Nitro knew how to use time management.
Bro.
Yeah, they knew time management to make a 3-hour show entertaining, whereas Raw doesn't know how to do that. But anyway, it's something that I had been thinking about when it comes to AEW, and I kind of feel the same way. You and I came into this with rose-colored glasses that, okay, finally some competition for WWE. Finally, a federation that has risen from the ashes of WCW, where we can finally see something different. And at first, it did feel different. And there obviously have been some spots of shining here and there. Again, I'm a huge fan now of Jade Cargill. I see the train that you're running on now, and I totally agree. She's like probably the best thing about the program. But overall, I sit through AEW and I watch it and I say to myself, this is no better than WWE. And again, I said this to Bill earlier. I'll say this here as well. I'm separating NXT from the equation. NXT to me doesn't feel like WWE. NXT is a far superior product. It's written differently, it's prepared differently, it's produced differently, where it feels like it's a completely separate federation. AEW to me, week after week, is feeling more and more like WWE, and that's bad. I feel that in terms of the production. I feel that in terms of just the dialogue, the acting, the presenting, the performing. It feels like Tony Khan is just running in place right now with it. He's not trying to improve it. I felt this way for a while with the show, where it's just like there's nothing different or special about it. And I feel like I've stopped watching WWE. Like, literally, I'm not doing the network anymore. I don't watch the programs anymore. And I feel like I've just replaced it with AEW. And for me now, the only reason I do it is for this show. If we stopped this show tomorrow, would I ever watch AEW again? Probably not. Maybe if I'm channel surfing, I certainly wouldn't go out of my way to actually watch it. I feel that says something really bad. That you don't really have somebody who's doing this for a living or doing this for recreational. What we're doing here, this is a passion project of ours, and
if you don't have the passion,
right. And I am losing passion in the product. You're obviously you're an old friend of mine. You're a great friend of mine. And I enjoy doing this with you. But the product that we are covering is utter dog shit. And I'm sorry, Simon, I know that you don't agree, and I totally understand that. Bill, and I'd love to get Simon on at some point to talk about this. I mean, Bill and I have been watching wrestling all our lives. I've been watching since '84. Bill probably around there too. Bill's a little bit younger than me. And I know when wrestling feels like it's special, when it feels like it's something to get invested in, and when it doesn't. And right now, AEW is in a place where it doesn't. It's like anything else. It's something where I feel like if you do put it up consistently against WWE, they're both going to just rip ratings from each other, because neither of them stand above each other at all. Which is sad for WWE, considering how long they've been around, to say something like that. But that goes to show you how crappy their product has been as well. So that's basically my take. it's something that does feel like a chore now, not this show, but to watch it and prepare for this show and to do it consistently. You know what I mean?
Right. Now, I'll piggyback on a couple of these things you're saying. Number one, I think we spoke about, I think last week, I really think there needs to be a committee. Tony Khan being the end all be all, but there needs to be, and there might be a fucking checks and balances. People keeping track of what's missed, but I don't know that there is. I mean, I've heard that there's somebody that keeps track of certain things, and but I still think a lot of things get missed. I do feel that AEW has a problem, an indie problem. It has an indie problem, and it has a problem, and it's like an indie problem where they haven't nipped that in the bud. Like at first I thought it was I thought the show had a bunch of different issues, I thought they worked on a bunch of those issues. A lot of that indie shit they started to work out a little bit, right? And I thought the show was going in a good direction. And they still haven't, there's things they haven't got rid of. This multi-man shit, the faction shit. They really have, how do you say, they really have dropped the ball on many different things in AEW. And while I felt they picked up the ball and started running again, sometimes they pick it up and they run right back in the direction they just came from.
Right. Or in place.
Right. Or in place. Right. So I think that, like, I'm trying to say it here and not be too fucking off the wall about it, but I think that AEW is still it's still a growing thing. It's still a process. I think, like you said, there's nothing that differentiates them from WWF. I think there's a lot that differentiates them, but I think they also have way too many elements that people want to get away from in WWF.
Right.
The goofy shit, the shit you wouldn't see in wrestling. Like, I just seen, like, here's a clip. I just watched a clip the other day where, now it was fucking hilarious. Ric Flair and somebody and I think what was her name from WCW? Was it Stacy Keibler?
Oh, yes.
The musical chair?
Yes.
Right. And he fucking shoved Stacy Keibler off the, I fucking loved it. I thought it was hilarious. But that's not fucking what I want in wrestling. I don't want fucking musical chairs, bro.
Yep.
All right? I just don't want it. I get it ain't going to be the fucking 80s. But listen, when you get hit with a fucking foreign object, I want it to mean something. When there's a run-in, I want that run-in to mean something. When there's a brawl, I don't want it to be every fucking person in the roster comes out for that brawl.
Yeah.
I think the biggest problem is they just fucking... I just think that, like, they haven't gone away from this stuff, and they haven't looked at this stuff. Like, some people have, like, even, like, Malenko was saying, like, with he was on Jericho's podcast. He goes, like, I told Ray Phoenix, slow it down. And I really feel Phoenix has slowed it down. And it's so much better because you're like, you could take it in. You could take it in. Like, there's so much happening on an AEW. I just don't even want to take notes. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I'm trying to take notes, bro. And I'm like, the fuck?
And, I've been thinking about this off and on. We haven't really talked about it much here. So Tony Khan, I just looked it up. I wasn't sure how old he was. Tony Khan's 38. He's a relatively young dude. That means that he grew up...
Attitude Era.
Attitude Era. Exactly.
As a kid in Attitude.
Exactly. So, kid in Attitude Era, and then after
ECW.
ECW. you would think that obviously with today being what today is, you can't pull in a lot of the elements from the Attitude Era or ECW and put it into this show. But he has retained all of the goofiness from that era.
Right.
And that's what's influenced him as a promoter. And that's unfortunate, but that is probably what we're talking about is happening here. That's his era of wrestling. And he obviously realizes that he can't do a lot of the risque things that era did. So he's deciding to basically pull all that out and just pull out the goofy stuff. And he's doing it, and he's obviously still very inexperienced. He's inexperienced as a producer. You know, here's the thing. Vince McMahon is obviously a relic now. But back in the day, Vince McMahon and Eric Bischoff and these guys who had years and years of production experience, you saw that back in the day in the product. Not now, but you did back in the day. And everything was very tightly produced. Tony Khan does not have that. Tony Khan is a fan who became a promoter, and he still, this is where I agree with you 1,000%. He needs a committee to help him out. And he has those people. He's got Anderson. He's got Sting. He's got Jake.
People.
He's got Paul White. He's got Jericho.
Relax on Jericho and Paul.
You know what?
Those guys.
All right, here's the thing. You're right. They're not great, but at the end of the day, though, they have experience, and they...
We need less Jericho influence.
Well, we do, and we need less Jericho goofy influence for sure. But Jericho, for all the goofiness, still does know about what makes a wrestling program get produced well. He at least knows that.
We're going to talk about... Remind me to talk about something Jericho did. I actually didn't, because I tuned out. Like, we'll get to that.
Okay.
I tuned out, but I heard about it. Maybe you saw it. I'm going to fucking go fucking ape shit on it.
Okay. And Simon says, when did Jim Cornette take over hosting the show? Well, I'm not cursing the way Jim Cornette does, and I'm not.
No, because we don't have any personal. Well,
right.
Okay, maybe the Bucks. Maybe Matt Jackson.
Maybe Matt Jackson. But that's the thing.
And Brandy.
Jim Cornette. And okay, you know what? Here's where I will respect Simon's opinion of comparing me to Cornette. I respect this opinion because I think what Simon is thinking is that, like Cornette, I'm stuck in a period of wrestling where I obviously feel it needs to go. I'm not saying that. And here's the thing, too. I'm not talking about wrestling at this point. I'm talking about production, entertainment, storytelling, etc., etc., etc. I'm talking about that. The product in the ring, outside of, obviously, there's a lot of performers who need a lot of work. They're still green as fucking grass. Outside of that, the wrestling itself ain't bad. It really isn't. If you take out all of the run-ins and the factions and you just look at the product in the ring, there is nothing really wrong with that. But it obviously takes more than that to make a show. And it's everything else that I feel that Tony Khan is failing at. I have no problem with the performers in the ring. I think he's got a damn good roster, and I think he needs to take more advantage of that roster. But it's everything else around it that needs to get fixed. And he's not... It's like as time goes on, he keeps getting more and more experience in his stable. And as that happens, he's moving more and more away from using that experience to help him produce something good.
Right, like you said, you kind of feel like he's stuck in that one fucking mindset.
Right.
And it's like, I exactly see what you're saying, and I think that that's another problem might be, listen, this guy, AEW is like his passion project, but he also runs the part of the Jags. He's got plenty of other businesses he's involved in, the soccer team. So listen, this is a guy that's trying to run, just say 3 corporations, the Jags, the football team he has, the soccer football he has in Europe, and AEW. Plus he's probably got other shit. I believe he's in plenty of other shit. So now, how much focus can you really put on creating a week-to-week TV show by yourself? And Big Dub says he has a booking committee. Okay, him and the EVPs. Okay, I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot of people coming in with ideas, but there needs to be, because he's even said there's people come to me with ideas. I veto or approve these ideas. There needs to be those ideas coming into a booking committee. And then a booking committee going over. I'm not saying it needs to be 20 guys. 4 or 5 guys.
That's all you need.
And you don't, I think like you don't need EVPs in on this.
No.
They can be, what they need to do is have filter their ideas into the booking committee. The booking committee should be guys like Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, Dean Malenko, these elder even Jake Roberts, like these guys that are minds of the business that have just like made tons of money in this business. And even other people outside, like that they could bring in, 4, 5, 6 guys. Everything flushes through them. Even the EVP's ideas, everybody's ideas flushes into them, and through them it makes its way on the paper if they feel it works. And then they also need people that are around them that are going to fine tune. Like, yo, you did a table spot here. You can't do the same table spot there later in the show, or you did this in this. How many times have we seen things doubled up in the show?
Right.
That are key things. I don't mind blood being doubled up because blood's cool. Like people say, oh, well, it's too much blood in the show. No, I don't mind blood. Blood means something. Blood means something when you see it. No matter how many times you see it, blood means something. I don't care what you say. But the fucking same suicide dive on 20 people 3 times in a show, that doesn't mean shit after a while. So, and that's just an example. I'm not saying it happened, but it's just
absolutely.
An example.
And just a couple responses here. First of all, Simon, Jericho is not one of the best ever. Jericho is easily one of the worst. What I'm saying about Jericho is that while he sucks at what he does, he still at least has experience. And he can call back to how things were done back in the WCW days. Interesting here, I think. Well, first of all, Eddie's funny. He's like, yeah, next week we'll see Impact Uncensored. It's funny, Impact at this point, I don't know. I haven't watched them in ages. But, Simon made a very good point here. The Bucks had a 5-star match again this week. Bucks had an audience match. I can't stand them, and they had a good match. And that's what I'm saying. In the ring, it's fine. Right. And Big Dub saying we can't have perfect shows every week. We're not having perfect shows ever. It's systemic.
I don't listen. I'm not that AEW fan that expects perfect shows every week. But there's a track record of shit that just isn't being handled or fixed. That's the issue. Of course, every show's. I've said it on this podcast. Not every show's going to be great. No. It's life. You're going to have mediocre shows. You can't book 52 weeks of great TV. It's not humanly possible. No. But there are glaring issues that are just not being fixed. John says the entire podcast should have had flames on. I agree with you.
And Simon's flaming on his side of the laptop. We need to get Simon on at some point. Maybe that's number 52. Maybe number 52. We need to get Simon on and we have a debate because it sounds like that's...
I can't debate a fucking Brit about this shit, bro. Like his accent's gonna throw me off. He's gonna fucking he's gonna call fucking soccer football. I can't do this, man.
Love Simon. First of all,
I love
Simon's food alone. Every time I see pictures of Simon's food, my God, my mouth just freaking waters, man.
I just have to get at him somehow.
Yeah. No, we love you, Simon. Seriously.
Really, really quick. So, somebody says something about Sting. Big Dub says, too many wrestlers, not enough rotation in and out of TV. We don't need Sting every week. 100% agree, and that's one of the issues I've had. You guys know I love Sting. You guys finally stopped fucking mentioning Sting and me, but like it's almost like, what the fuck is he doing out? He doesn't even talk.
Oh, he gets interrupted every time he comes out.
Right. I thought Sting this week was the best Sting we got. We got Sting no Sting until he came out to help Darby, which made sense. And he got the stereo Scorpion death drop, which was great, but I don't know. I just
just one more thing, because I'm really appreciating actually the chatter in the chat here, because it's good to have the counterpoint. I don't think a second show fixes this. I know that was said here is that a second show doesn't fix this, because if Tony Khan produces the second show just as poorly as he's producing the first one with fewer wrestlers, what's the point? That's not going to fix it. What needs to happen is he needs to get a real producer. Again, Bischoff really would help him tremendously.
I don't think it would hurt to have Bischoff working for
it would not. Get him over
not
there.
At all.
Get him on there full freaking time. Don't just put him
Yes.
out there for stupid game shows and all this other crap that he does with Jericho. Get him there full time. Give him a job.
Behind the scenes.
And just...
He's been, if anything, he's been in the wrestling production television side for decades.
Exactly.
Dude, like AWA, WCW, TNA. Okay, people don't love everything he's done. I honestly don't look at Bischoff in a bad light. Because once Bischoff got of course, Bischoff, you know what Bischoff did do was what he fucked up, giving people too much money and like trying to, you know. But let's be real, it's what ended up competing with WWE and bringing them to where they got. You know, once everything got pulled from him, that's when WCW went to shit.
Right.
Like, that's the reality of it.
Right. He succeeded with what he brought to the dance. And that's the part that he knew, and that's the part that was in his control. And again, yeah, he's got so much experience to be able to sit down with Tony, if Tony would actually have him to do this, and say, look, here's what you're doing right, here's what you're doing wrong. Here's how we can try to fix it. And I'd love to know what Bischoff thinks. You know, like, he never really, obviously he's not going to say anything bad because, you know, Tony Khan brings him on. But I'd love to hear what he thinks, like, on the fly, you know, completely raw, no bullshit. What do you think of the product? I'd be very curious to hear what he has to say about it.
Bischoff?
Yeah.
I guess he's talked on his own podcast about it in the past. I've seen comments he's
on
said.
83
so
weeks?
He's honest about it. I believe so.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I've seen like headlines of him, you know, comments he's made, you know, and he'll tell you like it is. I mean, he's not gonna be a super dick like Cornette about it, but
and that's the thing, you know, that's what I hate about Cornette. Cornette just rants, doesn't really say what's wrong. His whole thing with how it's wrong is it's not the wrestling I was involved with, and that's his answer. I am saying, as somebody who is in entertainment, this is an entertainment issue. I'm saying that from professional experience, that this is an entertainment, storytelling, production issue.
Yeah. Okay, here's something Simon says that is totally fucking wrong with the wrestling business now. How do you progress and do something new if you only rely on dinosaurs to guide you forward? I think you're missing the point. I think the problem is wrestling's so far from what wrestling really is based off of that it's fucking, like, it's not as, I don't have the care as much as I do as I used to for it. You really, you know, and Dub's agreeing with him. Like, you're like, there's a formula in wrestling that no matter what you say, that formula has been successful for 100 years.
Literally 100 years.
And you now are taking a totally different formula and changing it. I'm sorry, dinosaurs, whatever. Sorry, those guys know the fundamentals and the basics of what makes the wrestling business tick.
Right.
I'm sorry, but
yeah.
Babyface is winning every fucking match against every fucking heel. Makes no fucking sense whatsoever.
Right.
Tell me all you want. You know why I fucking loved wrestling? You know why? Because I fucking got to see Sting get his ass beat week in and week fucking out by the Horseman, by Vader, by fucking whoever the fuck he was feuding with. And it was frustrating, and it fucking got me into a frenzy. And guess what happened? Sting finally won to blow off the program, and that's where you as a fan, your visceral reaction comes in, and your feelings, and you get invested. I am not invested.
Right.
Why the fuck does Cody beat Penta?
I was just about to bring
3
that
weeks
up.
ago?
I was just about to bring that up because that really pissed me off. They had this beautiful setup where Penta just took him down, just verbally took him down. And I'm thinking, this is great. This is going to be a feud. He gets beaten, and that's the end of it.
One fucking match below. It was just a great promo,
right.
A great fucking interruption. just to fucking have a one match blow off.
Right. And that has nothing
And
to do
who
with
won?
dinosaurs.
The face
Exactly.
won. The fucking face
Exactly.
won.
That's not about dinosaurs. That is
You
about
guys don't
fundamentals.
you're the typical new generation wrestling fan where you think flips and shit and fucking fast paced matches with no fucking content and no building and no, like, that's great to you guys. Simon says it. He loves fucking indie shit. He loves the indie matches. That's his favorite thing. That's exactly what you want. That's exactly what current wrestling is. Indie bullshit.
Yeah. And again, that comes...
And that's factual.
That's factual, and that comes from the fact that, again, I love shitting on the Bucks whenever I get a chance to. The Bucks are major high-level employees in this company. So they have brought that influence to it.
And they cry and whine when you go at them for it. And of course, these are crying and whining indie darlings. All right, I apologize. I am using some Jim Cornette phrasing here, but which I feel bad about. But they are crying and whining, loved by the independents and top independent stars for a decade, and they now are the head of an actual organization. They are at the head of an actual organization, and I'm sorry, but that's like, you can't have that. You can't have that mentality if you want to get out of being a fucking indie show. BTE is full of fucking attacking 50-plus-year-old people, even 40-plus-year-old people. Guess what? We're only back watching you because we're hopeful. We're old WCW people. We don't want the circus that WWF always has been. So you're shitting on us because we expect better from you than WWF and indie bullshit. And then you cry and you want to huff and puff and say we're going to get off Twitter if you fucking come at us.
And that's what's so problematic. MJF is gold. He by himself is gold. That he consistently plays the heel. He never turns it off. It doesn't matter if it's with kids, whatever. When the Bucks got shit on, instead of leaving Twitter in a frickin' huff, they should have embraced that and said, well, fuck you.
Especially when you're going heel.
Exactly. It's playing to the fact that you're going heel. And now Big Dub says he's been watching for 30 years. So dude, you should know what we're talking about then.
So why would you call anybody a
yeah.
You wouldn't. I mean, if you're a 30-year wrestling fan, then why would you think having people from an era when wrestling, the best formulas for wrestling ever, would be a problem now?
Yeah.
That shit is going to be lost, bro, because a lot of these kids, they don't give a fuck. I'm sorry, but the Attitude Era was trash. That WWF Attitude Era shit was trash. I was a WCW guy. Way less of that bullshit trash than WWF did. All right? So, I mean, that's where a lot of this garbage came from. Birthing hands, half fucking raping women on TV, like sex storylines in the middle of a fucking ring in a bed. Like, come on, man. Let's not act. Let's not act. That shit was trash. That was fucking what started the death of the business.
Yeah.
Everybody looks back at the Attitude Era as this grand, great thing. Yeah, maybe because you were a kid or whatever. At that time, I was fucking out of high school. I was older. I saw for what it was. I'm sorry. Like, I look at wrestling different. I have a different mindset of wrestling. WCW had their things, but let's be real. The NWO, I mean, for what they had with the NWO, it was legit, and that was during the Attitude Era. They weren't doing the crazy shit. Did they have some sexy women here and there? Yeah, but they didn't really overdo it with them to like literally fucking making out with Vince McMahon on television and playing all this crazy shit, bro. I'm sorry, but I apologize to anybody who takes offense to this, but the Attitude Era is way overrated, and it's part of what killed the business. ECW, also, I love the ECW, but the fact that there was literally no rules and what really, it was good in some instances in like WCW and WWF, But now it's to the point where literally we're just talking about it. The refs call nothing. The refs just are there just to count pins, basically. The refs, foreign objects don't win matches. So that's it. I mean, that's the fucking facts, man. I don't think I'm saying anything that's not factual.
No, I mean, again, I will, I will always disagree in terms of the Attitude Era with one thing. You're right. There's a lot of crap like what you were speaking to. The Attitude Era had its moments. Austin, The Rock, Triple H. When you're talking about the crap,
I think The Rock is he's like, I don't like The Rock. I mean, I like The Rock as a person now and all that, but I just think like that gimmicky, extra over the top bullshit. I thought it was stupid. The fucking extra animated, the looks, I really thought it was so retarded. Stone Cold, I got a lot of his shit. I really liked it. The ass kicker.
Yeah, Austin was my favorite part of that whole era.
Right, the early Austin stuff. I guess it got a little more like weird towards the end. But Austin, early Austin, where he was just kicking ass and fucking going against his system, this and that. That was fucking amazing. I was always a Steve Austin fan in WCW.
Yep.
I always felt like, they fucked up, because I liked him, even as Stunning Steve or whatever. Of course I like the Stone Cold character, but also I fucking hate Triple H. I never liked the guy, and so that's that. I mean, that's just an opinion. I don't know, man. I just there might have been some good stuff during the Attitude Era, but let's be real, the Attitude Era fucking destroyed wrestling. Just my opinion. Yeah,
I mean, it was certainly, once it was over, it had done whatever it did, and then there wasn't much left. So now, Simon says something here that's that's interesting and a good point. He says there's nothing wrong with being an indie show. There's a reason why people pay to watch indie shows. You're absolutely right. Here's the thing, though. You're watching an indie show. There's not much production and storytelling behind it. It's guys wrestling, flipping around, doing whatever in the ring, which is fine. It's got its place. But there's not really a production behind it. AEW is different. AEW needs to have TV production behind it. It can't operate as an indie show. It just can't. Not for what it's supposed to be.
Indie shows are t-shirt sellers.
Yeah. And
merch sellers. That's what most indies are. It's merch selling. That's it.
Yeah.
I want to show how much crazy shit I could do in a match, so when I come back in 2-3 months, you're gonna want to buy my merch again. It's that fucking simple. That's exactly what indies are. Is there some fluidity in some indies? Yes, but let's be real. Most indies bring in stars from all around the world, and those stars come, do their flashy shit just so they could sell tickets. All right? It's a fucking fact. It's a fucking fact.
And they bring in a lot of retired wrestlers who do that too. Back in the day, before he passed, Snuka was doing a lot of indie shows. King Kong Bundy was doing a lot of indie shows. It was a way for guys who were over the hill to go out and just perform and to do their thing. But they were never involved in any type of an entertainment production with it. That's really what it comes down to. Right. Now, something else here that I found interesting. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
Simon says that the Bucks leaving Twitter was a work. Their current Twitter shows it. I mean, I don't know, but even so, let's say it was a work. That's a stupid work. I'm going to show how heelish I am by leaving Twitter as a work.
They left Twitter before that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, work or not. I mean, they left for a pretty long time.
Yeah.
So, okay, Simon also says, in the era that you guys are talking about, you had wrestlers dressed up as clowns, policemen, dentists, and bin men, meaning garbage men. Here's the deal. Guess what I don't like, Simon? Guess what I never was a fan of? WWF. I've said it before. I've said it a million times. So when I'm speaking, I'm not speaking from a WWF standpoint. Okay, I think that's a part you have to kind of remember when I speak. So you're right. I didn't like that era. There were things in that era I liked. Razor, Tatanka, Mr. Perfect. That was things I liked in that era of WWF and I watched for. Okay? Again, Duke the Dumpster Droese, trash. Waylon Mercy, trash. Fucking what's his name as the dentist, DDS, Yankee.
Yeah.
Kane, trash.
I hated Doink the Clown. I hated Doink the Clown.
Stupid. Big Boss Man didn't give a fuck about it. You know, like that's why I wasn't a fan of this guy when he came to WCW. They gave him a dumb fucking gimmick, the Guardian Angel. So, you know, and unfortunately, the WCW had similar shit too. Like, I won't say that they didn't. I mean, PN News had the hip hop thing. That was cool for me because I was into hip hop. But then you had Big Josh. It's like he didn't go crazy. He just dressed like a lumberjack. He wasn't doing crazy shit. So it is what it is.
Your timing was great bringing up WCW because Simon just posted the Shockmaster, RoboCop, David Arquette. I mean,
well, again, David Arquette was at the end. The Shockmaster just came in as a Shockmaster. What was wrong with it? There was nothing wrong with the gimmick. He just came in as a normal guy. His name was just a Shockmaster. He was a normal guy. He just fucking flubbed walking in.
His botch is the thing that people could remember with him, but there wasn't an issue.
That's just a botch. Yeah. And that was it. In and out. He was done. Yeah. Again, RoboCop goes back to stuff that I hated, but RoboCop, you have to look back. I look back on that with fresh thought, and you go, well, RoboCop was hot. It brought fans. Same with the Kiss monster. They had to deal with Kiss. There was something going on. Made the money off it. Disco Inferno was trash.
Simon brought Kamala. Kamala, I thought, was actually great in WWE. He was like threatening.
Yeah, Kamala's like a good, like that was a good.
That was a threatening gimmick. That scared the hell out of me when I was a kid.
The Shark, stupid. Yeah, yes, like I said, not when Hogan came over, WCW got really weird. He brought all those fucking friends of his from WWF, all these guys, Tenta, Kamala, who the fuck else did he bring? Barber, like. I get it, bro. Yeah, but my point, like,
I think though we're kind of leaving the point here in that, like, these guys are. I really appreciate the.
I know they're trying to pick apart.
No, but I get it. But what they're posting here is they're posting certain characters and wrestlers. Again, we're not arguing about the characters. We're arguing about the product, the overall product in terms of how it's produced and how it is told, how it is story told. Oh, and Simon, I'm sorry, Simon. I didn't know you were referring to Kamala in WCW. I don't remember who was he. Who was he in WCW?
He was there for. He was Kamala. He was fucking.
I didn't remember that.
He was in the Dungeon of Doom. I mean, like, he was such a small part there. He was Kamala. What the fuck? Like.
And by the way, Big Dub, we're not. I mean, I won't speak for Bill. We're not burned out. We're fired up. We're basically just like we're trying to tell it how it is. This is kind of like a State of the Union that just happened to come up here that we weren't even planning on, where we're just, we're describing how we feel about the product.
Yeah, you guys just haven't, you're saying like, oh, well, you're coming from this particular era. Like, listen,
it's not about it's not even about the era.
It's the era. Listen, the era, these old dinosaurs from this era, not for nothing, they've all produced great wrestling in the past. Yep. So whether they've wrestled themselves or created it, like, they all come from an era. Like, I'm sorry, but the 80s is like almost like the 80s is like for me, the perfect way wrestling was built.
That was the golden age.
I mean, like, I get it. Maybe they did this prior. I wasn't born, obviously, but there was like, there's a formula to wrestling that makes wrestling successful and makes you viscerally feel what's going on. And I think the 80s encompassed that. They embodied that. And they, of course, brought that into the 90s. And of course, a lot of that started to maybe go away in the late 90s, especially like the Attitude Era, particularly. And I don't know what the fuck happened with WWF after that. But it seems like the way wrestling is currently, that it's almost totally gone away from basically what makes you feel wrestling and makes you embrace wrestling and makes what wrestling makes you feel with the stories. Like, I don't feel like how I used to with these stories. You know what I mean? And you could say, well, you were a kid, you were younger when you're a kid. Like, listen, I still felt this shit when I was out of high school. Like, I still felt like, oh fuck, like, this has happened. Like, oh shit, I don't really get that often. I get it occasionally. I don't get it often. Like one example was Max Caster. He fought, who was it? Hangman the week before.
Yeah.
Like, they wrap the chain and he hits Hangman, and he doesn't get the pin. Like, to me, I would have fucking marked out like a son of a bitch if he won right there. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that's
but
fundamentals.
no.
That's basic storytelling fundamentals. It has nothing to do with
Number
the
one,
performers. Nothing to do with the
right.
performers. It's the fundamentals of the storytelling.
And that fundamentals makes you feel it and makes you excited
Yeah.
or shocked or like, you know, you go, of course everybody goes in going, Hangman's going to win that, right? But then you got to think, Hangman's a face. Max Caster's the heel. Max Caster's kind of getting hot. And he cheats. And he gets the victory. You're like, oh, fuck. Like everything goes crazy in your mind. You're like, holy fuck. But no. The face wins. The heel cheats. Still loses. What the fuck, man? I'm sorry. Any of you guys who say you've been watching wrestling 30 years and can't understand what I'm saying, I don't know what to tell you, man. I really don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
That's just my feeling. All right, let's get to Dynamite because we'll run. I mean, yeah, you're right. You're right, John. John said it's like over an hour in and we haven't even talked about Dynamite. But
we're nothing.
listen,
we're nothing if not unpredictable. You never know what you're going to get when you're watching.
Listen, Alan had this little rant on me, and I was like, you know what, man? I've kind of fucking felt a little way too when I'm watching. Like I kind of got like, like at towards the end of this, so you'll see. Like I don't have many notes, and I didn't really watch. So, and these were supposed big matches. So, all right. So the Bucks open up with a promo. This was more decisive than the actual turn itself. You know what I mean? Like there was no hemming and hawing. This is another thing that it's like we're conflicted, but literally like a week later you're like, fuck yeah, we were the fucking biggest heels in the business. They did a great job with it here, but I mean, you know, kind of take the two and think about it a little bit. You know, they did a good job with the promo. I thought last week was a little off kilter.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and especially being like hemming and hawing. I get the hemming and hawing part, but then you go from that to literally super heels, like literally in the first promo you do on the following week. So then after that, I mean, do you have anything on that promo itself?
No, I mean, I agree. It was fine. I mean, I think I made this point last week. The only thing that's just so jarring about it is that, again, weeks ago, they had already turned heel. And then they have them going back and forth, and now they just done it again. It's like they did a take two of it. This promo could have come out the night after the Bullet Club reformed, and it would have been more impactful, I think.
Right.
So,
again, hiccups and speed bumps in a story that shouldn't be there. I think they took the long way, but in a bad way, if that makes sense. I don't mind the long way, but you can't literally be a fucking, I don't know. You just can't be a graph that's up and down throughout a whole program. You know, little blips here and there, but it literally has been. If you look at a graph of the Young Bucks, your fucking you'll get dizzy from looking up and down. So, next up we get Mike Tyson standing by. He cuts a promo, and of course, as he's cutting a promo, you get MJF jumping in there and saying, basically be on our side. I got a check for you. Hands him a check. It says it's a blank check. Fill it out. We want you to shill for us in this match. And Tyson rips it up, shoves it in his mouth, and spits it back at MJF. And MJF kind of scurries off. So, just the Pinnacle trying to sway Tyson.
Yeah.
Which obviously Tyson shut down. How'd you feel about it?
It was a good impact, him just ripping it up, chewing it up, spinning it out. I actually thought that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Very Tyson.
Next up we get Pac and Phoenix versus the Bucks. Now this match was great, man. I mean, we knew all four guys can go in the ring. I'm now just waiting for Nick Jackson to shave his hair and go bald.
Yeah.
No, seriously. So I actually liked the Bucks heel tactics here. I thought they were playing it well. Again, very over the top compared to what they hem and hawed about last week. So literally a complete 180, which is fine because I enjoyed it. I thought they did very well doing it. So they did, again, they did it well. You know how I always say, like, they're really bad at the acting part of it. This was pretty damn good. So that I liked. The other thing, what the fuck happened in that match? Oh, I guess they had custom sneakers they were showing off. So that he's pointing to the sneakers, and then he's showing, like, they're showing the camera. So I guess that's like, like, oh, look, we're fancy now, we got custom sneakers and shit, and I guess Christian Dior Nikes or whatever. So little heel stuff like that. There was that was the other thing that I couldn't come up the top with, was there's something, I don't know, Super Dragon. I've heard of him. Do you know Super Dragon?
Yeah, I mostly know Super Dragon because of Botchamania.
Okay. So Super Dragon apparently did this fucking fake. What is he do? What were they doing? They were like, he was acting like he was the opponent, going for the hot tag and shit, and while there was nobody there, and I guess I kind of dug it. I felt it was a little over the top. He starts doing the warrior shake, and he starts doing his own goofy, his own Matt. I think it was Matt. He starts doing his own goofy, the shit that we clown him for, the shaking of the leg, and like he starts doing all that, and the running up and down the ropes, and so they mentioned Super Dragon, that he had something to do, like there was something that he would do as well. So it almost got to a point where I was like, all right, man, it's enough. But it was all right. It was all right to me. I felt maybe like a tad too much of it, but I thought it was all right overall. And I don't know about you, I thought the match was pretty fucking long. Not in the worst way, but it was long.
Yeah, it was a long match. I mean,
it was like 20, 25
Yeah,
minutes.
and it was an opening contest, so I kind of think that's okay. I think that if an opening contest is long like that, that's fine. If it was in the middle of a show, it would have been a lot tougher to be able to speak to say it could be 25 minutes.
Yeah. There was a nice little addition at the end where they rip off Phoenix's mask and hit him with the stereo super kick. I really like that. I know you kind of made a comment like he really fucking keeps his hand on his face.
I found it
through the super
right.
kicks.
Like I found it cartoony that he's doing this, and they kick him, but he still keeps the hands on his face as he falls backwards.
Right.
I just found it so cartoony.
Right. I know you kind of shit on that, but you can look at it like this too. The mask is a sacred.
No, I get that. I totally get that.
So it's like,
but physically,
no matter what you're going through, you have to eat that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to keep your face covered.
Physically,
he gets hit. And he could keep his face.
Yeah,
the boots hit him. So, he goes down and just has to eat the pain. You know what I mean? He'd already be reaching for his face, right, if he was selling.
Yeah.
So
it was funny, though.
So that was a nice touch. I liked that. Like, to me, that's very 80s
That
heel-ish,
is very heel, yeah.
80s, 90s heels, especially, when it comes to the luchas and shit. Especially, who had that? Was it Jericho? Was doing that with the luchadors. He was ripping their masks off and shit. That's when Ray, I believe, lost his mask back in WCW. And I believe Los Gringos Locos used to really go after masks and shit when they would wrestle.
That's right.
Who was Eddy and Art Bar, Eddy Guerrero and Art Bar. Like good heel shit. So I liked it. I really felt that was a great spot in that match. And of course, we know the match was good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my God! Now I'm gonna, now I got to shit on Anthony Ogogo just to get Simon to leave, just so he can leave in a huff. What do you got on the match yourself? Any particular?
No, again, I'll say this in a vacuum. In and of itself, great match. Nothing to complain about. And the Bucks finally, were embracing the fact that they're heels, and they were acting accordingly.
Actually looking good doing it.
Yeah. They're acting accordingly. So. Good for them. Let's see how long that lasts.
For real. Next, we get a promo with Hangman. Marvez is there. I wish I'd get rid of Marvez.
I'm a little sick of Marvez, actually.
He basically asks about Omega and Hangman. So this is good because they're kind of putting the Omega and Hangman thing back in the ethos.
Yes.
It's kind of been out of the picture for a while now, so this is good. We might be getting Hangman and Omega. Soon, not sooner than later, but by the end of the year. So that's because I would think definitely not Double or Nothing, but I would think maybe after that, so closer to the end of the year.
Yeah.
I forget what the later one is.
I do too. I mean, it would be a better placement though if it were to happen later in the year.
Is it all out later?
Oh, all out. Wait, yes, I think you're right. I think that's the next one.
I think it's all out, but but anyway, Hangman avoids the question basically and starts talking about John Silver's arm, about the injury and stuff. So, that's pretty much it. I just felt it was interesting to have. I thought it was interesting to have the little Omega comment.
Yeah, they planted the seed.
Right. Next up, we got an inner circle promo. I have no notes for it. What do you got?
I don't have much for this either. I mean, really, it was. Okay. Let me just see what I wrote here. Well, Jericho's, bringing up their history. Him and Tyson, they've been going at for each other for for the last 10 years. And Tyson simply told him, "Well, if you need me, I have your back." Again, not much of an explanation as far as why they're working together, considering their history. But basically, Jericho told him, "I don't want any special favors. Call it down the middle." And Tyson said, "I'm not calling it any size. I'm going to call it down the middle." Right. And then
Simon says May 7th is all out. May 7th is Double or Nothing.
Yeah. I think all out is later, unless.
Yeah, all out's later.
Yeah.
Unless I'm wrong. I mean, I thought Double or Nothing is mid-year.
I thought so too.
Yeah, he might.
Oh, we could be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, one of us is wrong. Yeah. So, but he says he called up, making amends, right? He called up some people, and Tyson was one of the guys. So next up, we get Red Velvet versus Jade. Now, for me, Jade is definitely green. I mean, this is her third or fourth match. I believe it's her fourth match they mentioned. But with her size, being that she's green, she could really hide it right now.
Yep.
For the most part, being that the size is there, and she's kind of going to be the beast over anybody else in the women's division. She isn't doing that bad. I think there's a couple moments where you could see there's a little lacking of experience, obviously, mm-hmm. But again, it's more hideable. It's more hideable than if she wasn't such a monster.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Like she's a great performer in the sense that you can hide a lot of what makes her green because of how imposing she is. And her moveset doesn't have to be overly complicated.
Versus Britt Baker, where she's trying to be more complicated of a moveset, but also is a great personality.
Exactly.
Lost Soul says May 30th is Double or Nothing. Yep. All right. So May 5th is Blood. Right. May 5th is Blood and Guts.
Yeah.
What's up, Lost Soul?
Yeah. What's up?
What do you got? What do you got on the match? I know you were very high on Jade.
I thought it was great.
Let's hear it.
I thought it was great. I thought, I had said to you that I feel like she really can be a special attraction. She could be like a Brock Lesnar, where you don't necessarily have to have her on every week. You can have her in for special occasions. I'm not really sure what you do with her after Red Velvet, because the problem with her is that she is so imposing. Right. You really can't have anybody beat her yet and have it look legitimate.
Right.
That's the issue with her.
I think that's a thing that they did with Nyla, where they've kind of turned Nyla into someone that they're going to have to build back up when she goes on a particular run, because she's lost a lot.
Yes.
And she was, supposed to be the big imposing woman. And I think Jade, you can't make that same mistake with.
Yeah.
So,
They're going to have to be very, very careful how they book her.
You can put her in there with Kylan King or whatever her name is. I mean, she's a taller woman. She's a face. She's not somebody that has to win, you know?
Yep.
And again, it goes back to the heel's got to win anyway.
Exactly.
Fuck, man. Anyway,
I got to tell you, if Red Velvet had won this match, yeah, I would have been done. Like that would have been it. If Red Velvet had won, that would have been it. I think I would have called you up and gone, Bill, and done.
I think one thing okay. So going into that, with as far as tying in stories, where they are doing a good job is with this story, because they're taking this story where Red Velvet was number 2.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, and Britt Baker is now number 3.
Yep.
And now that Red Velvet lost, because right after this is the Britt promo.
Yep.
Where she starts talking about rankings again. And she goes, well, I'm number 3. Red Velvet's number 2. She has a loss. I haven't lost. I have as many wins or more, another win over her, another win more than her. So now I should be number 2. So now she's putting herself in number 2 while saying basically Ty Conti's going to get a shot at Shida. And after that, she's next in line. So they're really teeing that up well. Now that's great story.
Yes.
And that's great booking, that they literally booked the match right before that person loses. The next promo from the promo prior for the last 2 weeks with Britt talking about rankings. And now literally the third promo she does about, I believe it's the third promo about rankings. She now literally does a promo right after the match the person loses, that she's going to jump because of that loss. So that is brilliant fucking booking.
And what makes it even better is that she had started out on this whole thing a couple weeks back saying the rankings don't fucking matter. But now that it advantages her, now it matters. Now she's saying that the rankings matter. So.
Right. So again, she's pushing Dark Elevation, which is good. They've really been using her to push these programs, I've noticed in her promos. So, especially because she's like, well, the rankings don't matter, but I'm going to go out there and get up the rankings by being on Dark and Dark Elevation as well. So, that's good. I mean, it's really good. So that's pretty much it. I mean, anything for you on that?
No, I say this every week. I don't understand why they took away her show. Her show was one of the only really entertaining things going on, certainly on Dark. And I don't know. I think it had the potential to be like a Piper's Pit. And they could have used it as a vehicle for a lot of feuds. They obviously had a lot of humor going on with it.
Right.
And now it just went away inexplicably. And that again is there's a problem I have. Is like you didn't even explain why you took this thing away. You obviously invested time in. They built a set, right? They actually had a number of good episodes on with it that were really entertaining. It was one of the few reasons I wanted to watch Dark when it was on. And it's just inexplicably gone away. What the fuck?
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't mind seeing it back. But, excuse me, what are we going to do?
Yep.
I mean, at this point, you know. So listen, so far, I enjoyed the show. Up until this point, I enjoyed the show. But at this point, Anthony Ogogo versus Jobber. At this point, the show takes a turn for the worse. That's a pause for dramatic
I was about to
effect.
say, yeah.
I'm just kidding,
Yes,
Simon.
yes.
Up until this point, though, the show has been good. So that's just a preface. It's not saying anything after is bad. That's just right now. Almost everything up until this point has been good. So we get Anthony Ogogo versus Jobber. Now, I've been waiting for Anthony Ogogo in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when I heard he signed with them, I'm like, oh, he's a boxer, whatever. I like to see what he could do. It's a new guy to wrestling. He has a good look to him. You know what I mean? I loved it. I also one thing I loved about this was I said it in the chat to you, but I don't know if you noticed or understand this. When he got in the ropes, you climb through the ropes and you're straddling the middle rope.
Mm-hmm.
He did the he did the rope bob and weave, which is like a boxing
Right.
thing. I don't know if you know
I
that.
did not know that.
Or,
When you
okay.
mentioned it, I did not know that. So
It's a training
Yeah.
thing in boxing. It's like they come up, it's like a bob and weave.
Yeah.
They go under a rope, back and forth, and throw in like a punch, or sometimes just doing the back and forth with the head. Just it's a head movement training technique, and I love that he did that. I really hope that that's something he does every time he gets in a ring.
Right, that's his gimmick.
I fucking love it. It's part of his boxing gimmick. It looked great. And basically did a little lock up, nothing much, nothing crazy. I kind of was hoping that he would have done a little more in the match, but then he gives him the body shot, and basically the ref calls off the match. Little too quick, but maybe give it a couple more seconds to ref. But the ref literally knocks him down. He's down, and he's like, ring the bell, But it was good. I didn't mind it. I like that they're showing Anthony Ogogo as a beast. You know what I mean? Like right out of the gates. I just would have liked to see him wrestle a little more, but we'll get there.
Yeah, like
it's a jobber. Sometimes we say to give these jobbers a little too much, but I know a lot of times that's more to showcase the wrestler and get the wrestler that's wrestling maybe some more reps. But,
yeah.
I don't mind it as much.
No, he came across as very imposing, but yeah, I also just questioned it. Like, okay, so he knocks him down, but it's not like the ref was able to tell in 1 second, oh, he can't continue ring the bell just because he got a shot like that. Like that happens in every wrestling match. Right. It's like, okay, why is this time different from other times?
Right.
Why?
So it was not an issue with the match. It's kind of issue with the speed.
Exactly, with how quickly they concluded it.
Ringing the bell. Yeah. Right.
But I get
like again.
It's great in terms of how it builds up a go-go. So
yes,
totally fine in that regard.
I think it should have just maybe give another 5 seconds where the guy's just writhing.
Right, maybe he's like shaking, or he's like, I can't continue, or something. Right. Yeah.
He literally just like knocked him down. The guy went down. He's like, and the ref's like, ring the bell. All right, let it breathe. This is another thing we've said. Let it fucking breathe for fucking seconds. Yep. That's all it takes.
Yeah.
So, but as far as everything else, loved it. Had nothing to do with Anthony Ogogo. I enjoyed it. I'm still looking forward to more Anthony Ogogo. Yep. So there, Simon, you don't have to leave. You fucker. Next up, we get a Miro promo. I don't know, man. I mean, I feel like they're going in better direction with him, and they've kind of hinted at better directions, but we'll see. He's basically saying he's looking for Kips as where you been, Kip? Either you're with me or you're against me. Either you're with me or you're not against me. But so then he starts going on about anybody with gold better watch out. So he's basically now saying anybody with gold, I'm coming for you. Darby, the champ, anybody. So okay, we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see how it goes.
It feels like they're finally putting him on the path that I wanted him on when they first brought him in. And after this promo, it's like, okay, did you see Avengers Endgame? Yeah. There's that scene where Hawkeye's talking to Black Widow, and she's like, I think I found a way to bring people back. He's like, don't give me hope. That's kind of how I felt watching this. It's like, you're finally making me believe that you may finally put this guy on the proper path. Right. And it was a great promo. I mean, it was exactly what we should have seen ages ago. So we'll see what they do with it.
Okay, here's where I start to like really lose interest in the show.
Yeah.
Dax versus Jericho, and I like Dax. I think he's actually a really good promo.
He's very good.
Really, really good old school style wrestler. Tyson's out there as an enforcer. Okay. There like. Inner Circle couldn't be at ringside. Was I wrong?
You are correct. That was the rule. And they couldn't have anybody from Pinnacle either there. Yes.
Wasn't there one of each side out anyway?
Yes, there was.
Okay.
So I guess we missed the part where they changed the rules to say you can only have one of each at ringside.
Right. So right there, I'm like, fucking A. Tyson's outside the ring as an enforcer. I guess I understand that. Okay, he's out there. If anything outside gets funky, because he's not the ref. He's just an enforcer.
Exactly.
Now, I will say this. I was in and out of this match, mostly out of this match, so I did see the punch that Tyson gave Cash Wheeler. And that fucking looked great.
That was well done.
Talk about a great looking shot.
Yeah, they telegraphed it very well.
Right. I had heard that they actually had Wardlow had to come in and carry out
Cash. Yes.
So that's great. I didn't see
that. Was the closing shot. They're all there and he's carrying him out.
Right.
And, yeah.
Right. Which is fucking great.
Yeah.
I mean, he sold it, and that's Mike Tyson. Of course you sell it like that.
Yeah.
So I'll let you speak on this match as a whole, and eventually this obviously breaks down into fucking disaster. I have no idea exactly what happens because, again, I tuned out. I actually forgot to go back. I was going to watch this piece just for my own visual. I'll probably do it after the show, actually. But I heard that Jericho had Dax in the walls of Jericho, and he was dead in the middle of the ring facing one of the other wrestlers that was supposed to punch him to get the hold released or something. And he was so far away, he literally had to crawl. He went himself to the ring to get punched.
Yeah.
Did you see this?
I did.
Okay.
I did have a note on this, yeah.
Okay. I'm disgusted by it. Number one, you're the professional old school guy, right? Number two, I've seen him do this before.
I have too.
It's disgusting. In similar situations. Number three, I know he's confronted a lot of guys after their matches at the gorilla position in WWF. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Was it because of what they did in a match?
There would be various reasons, but that would be one of the reasons he would, yes.
Like they did something stupid in the match?
Either something stupid or they would get a cue off or something like that. They would get timing incorrect. Like something was supposed to take place and they'd have the timing off. They wouldn't be ready. They wouldn't be in the right position at the right time. Various reasons.
Right. So this is a guy that his whole shtick, right, has been going after people for this type of stuff over his career. And he fucking goes and does it. This is like, I don't know, bro. Like, I don't know what to say about it. I really don't.
It's a shockingly like obvious lack of ring awareness. You know, it's really funny. I feel like ring awareness gets used by commentators as part of the story. Look at that amazing ring awareness. He knew to grab the bottom rope as he was in the submission move. He knew where he was in the ring. And this is a sense of him really not having ring awareness of where he was. And now, granted, I will say it may not have been completely his fault. Could have been the opponent's fault as well. But he's the one giving the move. He's the one who should be able to control the position of where he is.
Then you have to change on the fly.
You have to change on the fly.
Dax, listen, it's too far away. You're going to have to power out or get to the ropes.
Right.
Like, I can't drag you over there because that's just defying all logic of what the fuck people are looking at. And if you're not, listen, it's a little easier if you're not literally the center of attention.
Sure.
But you're literally in the center of the ring in a one-on-one match with a guy in a fucking move.
Yeah.
Know? So, you could get away with it if you're like in a tag match and you're the secondary group in a ring doing something. Anyway, kind of fucking heard that. Made me sick. And apparently Tyson's now an ancillary member.
Yeah, which was so silly because it's like they're going in saying, yep, going to call it down the middle. I'm, whatever. I have no whatever. But then right after he says, oh, yeah, I'm a member. Okay. Anyway, whatever. That's unfortunately was my reaction after. It was just like, whatever.
Right. So, as far as the rest of the match, give me some thoughts. Anything?
No, I mean that did stand out with Jericho. It was a good match otherwise in the sense that Dax doesn't get used enough. I mean, he really performs well. It was an entertaining match just in terms of the two of them, but I was distracted by the fact that all of a sudden they got one guy each outside. And the first thing I was thinking was, all right, well, shouldn't Tyson be enforcing that? What are you doing here? What are you doing here? Get the fuck back. Go backstage. You're not supposed to be here. And I was distracted by that throughout the match, and it felt like they just changed the rules in the middle to say, well, no, it's not that nobody can be there from either side. It's that one person could be there from either side. Which also then takes away from the enforcing part. Right. And that's part of what's weird too, is that he's the enforcer, he's the outside enforcer, and he's not really doing anything about the fact that there's two guys there. Right. Until they get in his face, and then he does something. Fine.
Right. The guys do something, and then basically they do it, and then he fucking gets the fuck. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
it was just distracting. It honestly took me out of the match. But for the most part, most of the positives with the match were Dax. I think. Yes. He was fantastic.
I mean, there you go. I'm just not. I don't know. I just had no interest in it. Next up, we get Omega, Callis, the Bucks, and Good Brothers promo. They're out in the parking lot, and guess who's scurrying out from the fucking shadows? Alex Marvez. And, of course, they play it up, too. They go, oh, fucking Marvez. You know, they're giving him shit for being a weirdo. It was pretty good. I mean, you know, you got them saying basically everybody wanted the old Bucks and the old Omega, and now they got him, and people are still complaining about it. You know, which I agree. I agree with that. You know, like that's a shoot. That's a Bucks style shoot as well. Mm-hmm. Where I'll agree with them on that. You know, where a lot of times they'll try to throw shade on people that talk about certain things. In the real world, and they try to bring it into the wrestling world, and I disagree with. But in that sense, I do agree with it. Everybody wanted a different Omega. They wanted the different Bucks. Now they got the different Omega, and everybody cries about it. So. The fuck was that? Yeah, so that's it. What do you got on that program?
I like the end of it. I like that the Young Bucks were gonna proceeding to try to super kick the cameraman. They're like, oh, we're just kidding, and then Callis ends up doing it. So that was pretty funny. Yeah, Callis is a dick. He's an entertaining dick.
Okay. Next up, we get Thunder Rosa. She gets a promo. She says she wants the AEW and the women's AEW and NWA championship. So that was pretty much the gist of it. So that was good to see.
And it's interesting. She said that whoever wins versus Shida and Conti, she's coming after them. But then what about the ranks with Britt? How does that work?
Maybe they're not. Maybe their feud's not over.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So.
The other thing that I found interesting was she said that Serena Deeb is missed, but she's coming for that title when she gets back. What happened with Deeb? I wasn't aware of anything with that.
I don't know. What is she doing in NWO? I mean, NWO.
I'm not sure. That's the thing. I don't even know. I found that odd. Like, I didn't even realize that she wasn't there anymore, or I guess she hasn't been around, and that she's coming for the title when she gets back. So I guess Serena Deeb now is stuck with NWA. Maybe she can't go back. She can't cross the stream. She can't, cross the forbidden door, I guess. I don't know. That threw me a little bit because I didn't even realize that Deeb wasn't around anymore.
I don't know what Deeb's been doing.
Yeah.
Like, I know she hasn't been around. I just don't know what she's doing. And I really didn't care. She could wrestle, but she's got no charisma.
Right.
As a character, I'm not interested in her. As a wrestler, she's great.
She's a great performer.
She'd be great to train these women. So.
Oh, Simon says she's injured.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't even know that.
Simon says Serena Deeb is injured.
Yo, props to Simon for the research. I did not even know she was hurt. All right.
Next up, what do we got? Statlander versus Jobber. It's good to see her back. And I don't say this with any, like, I thought she was fine before, but she looks like she toned up.
Yep.
Lost a little weight, she looked a lot slimmer. Not a lot slimmer, but like she looked a little more slimmer than she did prior to her being out. So, and again, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm not like WWF was like, oh, she has too much weight on her. I'm not that guy, man. I like thick broads. So
yeah, no, she looked like she has a lot more muscle though, a lot of more muscle mass, which is great. So
she looks like she actually lost a little weight.
Mm-hmm.
So she must have been on a crazy training regimen, which I'd understand too. You're out so long, you want to train a lot. So
yep.
But it was good to see her back. Again, she's very green. We'll see how it goes from here. I think she's got lots of upside. So,
well, I was just going to say, it's ironic that, yeah, she's relatively green. The performer she was facing, Amber Nova, has actually been in the business for a while. She hasn't been doing a lot. She's bounced around from, different indie promotions and such. But Amber Nova's been performing for quite a while. I think she's actually pretty impressive.
Yeah, I didn't honestly pay close attention.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you like I did,
No, but yeah, I thought that she does a really good job in the ring. I would like to see them do some more with her because she actually can perform very well, and she's been in the business for a while. So that's somebody who I would like to see them rise up the rankings if possible.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. There's plenty of space. I mean, you know what we didn't talk about? We fucking totally blew by. We could talk about at the very end as some of the roster spots.
Oh, yeah.
The roster dumps. We'll talk. It will be quick. It won't be crazy. We're almost done here. We'll do it real fast.
Yeah.
We get a Team Taz promo. Basically, they're all asking, Taz, what's up with Cage? Christian Cage? Have you heard anything about it? No. We're gonna find out tonight, though. So Cage is cutting a promo in the ring. Taz comes out, basically asks Cage what's up. Cage refuses to join Team Taz. Says you guys are kind of on the downside. I'm looking to move up. Makes a couple, Taz makes a joke about Taz being short. Taz says, well, if I sat on my wallet, I'd be way above you. Basically, Will Hobbs attacks Christian Cage. I like this because now you could have Will Hobbs versus Christian Cage. That's a nice little program.
That is actually a nice program. And the two things that stood out about this to me was, number one, I was shocked. I thought this was going to go on for fucking weeks. I really did. We talked about this last week. I thought this was going to go on for fucking weeks. The other thing I found very interesting, again, I believe we're being listened to. If you remember, I said last week that Christian had the perfect opportunity to say, you guys are a fucking dumpster fire right now. You guys can't get along. Why am I going to want to join you? Looky here. That's the reason he gave.
Yeah. Listen, we got
Makes you wonder.
Big man.
Makes you wonder.
Hey, TK. Just hit us up, man. Send me an email. We'll sit and talk.
Yep.
We'll Zoom you. I don't like Zoom. We do Skype here.
I am a Zoomer.
We'll Zoom you.
So anyway, that really.
I can't look. I couldn't book my way out of a paper bag, but I could definitely drop some fucking ideas.
Yeah.
Like Dustin Rhodes better end up being the fucking real head of the Nightmare. QT
yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's get to the end here, and then we'll go quickly over some drops.
Yeah.
We get Darby versus Hardy. My notes were too much bullshit.
It was way too much bullshit. I could not keep track of what the hell was going on. They kept bringing people out. They kept taking focus away from the match to a point where I don't understand how the match was even able to continue. I understand it's no DQ, false count anywhere. Totally understand that. But it literally got to the point where I could not even tell if the match was even still happening. Like, Sting was out for a very extended period with the bat, and they had the camera off of Darby and Hardy for quite a while. Mm-hmm. And the fact that they had the camera off them for so long made me wonder, I understand this is Falls Count Anywhere, no DQ, but was this just like no finish and they're going to go up the air with all this chaos? It took a hot minute for them to finally get the camera back on them again. Like, okay, the match is still going on. I couldn't freaking tell. It was a complete mess. Like, I could not make any heads or tails of this thing at all.
I did like the ending with the call. I like how the coffin dropped.
I did too. That was
really
great.
Like that.
That
was nice fucking.
That was really great. That was well done. But outside of that, the majority of this was just did not know what the hell was going on.
It was a mess. And listen, man. Again, I like Falls Count Anywhere, stuff like that. But can we not do it? It's like, okay, every week we have some kind of stipulation.
Yeah.
Again, this is like a very ECW-esque thing. I mean, I like it because it gave us that coffin drop spot, but I also feel like kind of enough's enough sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Do you have a list of those?
Let me see. Bear with me to see if I could pull them up. This is some live research. By the way, I should preclude this by saying that I do know that these guys have a no-compete clause. So
all of them do.
All of them apparently do. So we are not going to see
every single one. Are you sure?
I am not 100% sure, but I believe that was something that was commented on after all the announcements went out. The epilogue to the whole announcement was all of these guys who were released have a no-compete. And if I recall correctly,
Who did that detail come from?
Oh, that was from E-Wrestling News. I mean, they're pretty...
Okay, so does E-Wrestling News know? That just happened. How the fuck did they really know?
Well, the same thing did happen last year. I agree. Where I don't know where exactly you get an official notification, who you get that from to say that. But the fact that it did also happen last year leads me to believe that is the case here too. But no, I'm not 100% sure.
So anyway, you got the list?
I don't have the full official list, but I do remember a lot of the names. So we got Mojo Rawley.
No.
No what?
No interest.
Oh, no interest. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. We got both Iconics, Peyton Royce and Billie Kay.
I think, yes. Both would help the women's division.
I agree.
I mean, you said Billie Kay sucks, right?
Billie Kay sucks in the ring. She's very entertaining. She's not great in the ring.
So
Peyton Royce is both entertaining and good in the ring.
Okay, so here's the deal. Peyton Royce's husband is actually Sean Spears. So
that's right.
So that is probably a foregone conclusion.
I think so too.
Billie Kay. Here's the deal. Do we need more women who are great on the mic or great as a character but can't wrestle? I don't know. If she can't wrestle that well after all these years in the WWF, is she ever going to be worth it?
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, that's the thing. She's very entertaining. From what I hear, everybody loves her backstage. She is, but it's not enough to say that she should be there. Probably not.
How bad is she in the ring? You've watched her. I haven't.
She's not piss poor terrible, but
is she Britt Baker bad?
You know what? Ironically, maybe not. I don't think she's missing a lot of the fundamentals that Britt is. I do know that when you see her and Peyton both performing, it's a lot more apparent that she's got holes because Peyton performs so well, and then when Billie's in, she doesn't really. So it's a lot more apparent, I guess, who you have her up against.
But do you think she would be a good fit to bring into AEW?
I don't think it would really improve them. Let's put it that way. It wouldn't hurt them. It wouldn't hurt them.
Right.
It would
give them more to work
with.
Exactly. Okay. So I would like both of them.
Okay. And I do have the full list now, by the way.
Okay.
Next up is Mickie James. I mean, Mickie James has been around forever.
Old, right? She's an older.
Yeah, she
is she actively wrestling currently?
She was technically on paper, but they had not had doing anything with her for a very long time.
Okay, so
but
maybe as a
I think
backstage.
Absolutely,
maybe?
As a trainer, I think someone like Mickie James would.
Was she good? Was she good?
Yeah, she's great. She is
So that's good. I'd be good with it, like a
absolutely, or
producer slash trainer.
yeah,
You know.
like maybe have somebody
Okay.
who she could actually lead the women's locker room and try to help them out.
Right. So okay, those three. Go ahead.
Chelsea Green, who is actually quite good.
Is she?
I think she's pretty decent. I think that was a bit surprising. They did, again, this was another example of somebody who was really good on NXT and then nothing. So she was wasted. I would definitely say she would fit well. You've got Tucker, who was part of the tag team with Otis. He's okay. Nothing really to say.
Right. Like honestly, like that would be a tag team.
Yeah,
That I would
exactly.
be okay with.
Exactly.
But, you know, by himself, there's no sense.
Yeah. Kalisto. I mean, Kalisto's okay.
I don't. Yeah, I would.
He's not. I wouldn't pick him up just for the hell of picking him up.
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
No. Me neither.
Bo Dallas, which is Bray Wyatt's brother.
He's from everything I've been reading, he's kind of been like focusing outside of the WWF or wrestling.
Yeah.
Wrestling itself, maybe because it's the WWF shitting on him or keeping him off TV.
Yeah.
People like him. People really think that he got a raw, like from what I read, people think he's not getting the deal. He's getting a raw deal considering what he's capable of. I never was a fan of his look, that stringy ass long hair he had. Maybe he cut it and got a better look, but I wouldn't. I would say his pedigree, I would give him maybe give him a shot if you got something for him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I could see that.
Especially his pedigree. He could come in as somebody Wyndham, you know, or somebody Rotunda.
That's true.
You know.
That's true.
So that's a pedigree thing, you know. And don't forget, Cody Rhodes, Dusty Rhodes, the Wyndhams, the Rotundas, they're all like that's Florida, bro. That's Florida wrestling.
That is Florida. That is true.
Florida Championship Wrestling. Man.
Yep.
CFW. Championship Wrestling for Florida. You know? So
then you got
Blackjack Mulligan.
Oh yeah.
All that.
Oh, absolutely.
They're all connected. So anyway, go ahead.
Wesley Blake, who has not been doing anything since.
No idea who that is.
Yeah,
nope.
Yeah, you wouldn't know. I mean, yeah, he's been a minor guy on WWE's roster. He was teaming up with Elias. He was not doing a thing since May of last year. So, yeah.
Okay.
The last name I'm very intrigued by, and that's Samoa Joe.
Okay, yes, you spoke about that.
Now, Samoa Joe...
I joked and said, well, he's old as fuck.
Yeah, he's older, but...
I joked.
Yeah, but his biggest issue has not been his age. His biggest issue is he has been getting hurt. Like, he's had concussion issues. There were a couple points where they thought they were going to be able to bring him back in the ring, and then they realized that they couldn't. Now, obviously, WWE's concussion guidelines are very different from other companies.
Right.
It's why Daniel Bryan wanted to go elsewhere.
And shit.
Exactly. Yeah. So if he is somebody who would truly be healthy, I think he would be a major pickup. He is killer on the mic, performs very well in the ring. Again, the 15th or 16th person who Tony Khan can use for actual, advice on production, ring work, just overall entertainment. I think he's great. I think of all the names that I listed here, he is definitely the one who I would say number one would want to see him go over there to AEW.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm with it. I'm with it. I'll take him.
Yeah.
I would take him too. And that was it, huh?
That was it.
So that's not bad. I mean, Chelsea Green. Oh, I didn't really say anything about her. You said she's good. Aren't her and Britt very similar in gimmick?
Actually, they technically are. Chelsea had a manager. I forgot this guy's name. Very douchebag heel manager. Totally forgot what his name is. But that was part of her gimmick too. That's true though. They are similar. But then again, you can always change somebody's gimmick up.
Right. All right. So you say the Iconics together. Obviously, there's a one of them maybe not.
Yeah.
you say Mickey James for backstage works great.
Mm-hmm.
Samoa Joe, Chelsea Green, and maybe Bo Dallas.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not bad. I mean, you get them for the right price. I mean, you could probably get these people for a fraction of what you would get, because it's either they go there and get on national TV, or they go to Impact or Ring of Honor, and really, what are they really going to get from that?
Yeah.
NWA, they're just going to get work.
Yeah.
Okay, Simon says Chelsea Green's Mad Bride character in TNA was amazing. Okay, I never seen it, but maybe that's a way to get back.
I haven't seen that either, but hey.
Change of again, a little bit back to an old gimmick. Yeah, she might end up in TNA because she obviously Cardona's there now, and that's her fiance. Or I don't think they're married yet.
Oh, I forgot about that. You're right.
Yeah. So
you're right.
We'll see. Yeah, I mean, I like to do this. There's this weird thing where people are like, you hate WWF so much, but you want the WWF talent. Like, people that say that are just, you're pretty much retarded.
But we've been saying, we have nothing to say against the talent. We have something to say against the product.
Right. I think, like, the problem with these people that say this, I think they have mental deficiencies.
Yeah.
Like, you just... But honestly, that's I'll be honest, in the wrestling fan community, it's kind of like I'd say that's a lot of wrestling fans. So
to give you an example, because it's so funny, WWE sometimes they accidentally strike gold.
Of course.
And a great example of that is Roman Reigns.
Flair with the NWA title on fucking TV.
Absolutely.
No, go ahead.
Roman Reigns is somebody who, up until last year, like mid last year, the pandemic era, I guess, everybody hated his guts. He was boring as fuck.
Yep. They would boo him.
All he needed was a heel turn, and now he is the most entertaining thing on that program. We never have anything to say against the individual performers. And the other example is like,
listen, I have people I don't like.
Oh, sure, of course.
That's just preference.
Sure.
I literally have, if I look at a guy, I'll have a feeling like yes or no. Like, do I care about him or not? Just off a look. Of course, if certain things happen, he could change my mind. That's just how I've always been with wrestling.
Yeah.
From the beginning of me as a kid, even. But nothing literally against any performer in the WWE currently that I wouldn't want. I mean, there are guys I wouldn't want to come over because, again, I do have opinions on guys, but that's specific guys, and has nothing to do with like wrestlers as a whole. Like Alan said, it has to do with the WWF as a product.
Right. So you could strike
people
with
lose that in translation.
Yeah.
Like, people are just fucking weirdos that they can't differentiate. It's just a lame argument that they try to one up an AEW fan with, which is just stupid, dude. You're grasping at straws, man. You sound like an idiot.
And like I said at the beginning, well, actually, I guess you and I were more talking about this offline. We didn't really bring this up here, but again, you look at NXT and you've got these guys who are really running on all cylinders, and then all of a sudden you promote them, in quotes, to the WWE main roster, and they suck. That's not because of them. That's because of how they're managed. That's because of how they're produced.
Exactly.
So there's that's the best example of all.
That's your exclamation point. Don't get fucking booted by Stream Elements bots.
Yeah, right.
All right. That's your one exclamation point.
There you go.
So Alan's capping this episode off with that hard exclamation point. Perfectly said. As always, like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, hit the thumb. Do it with your family members' phones, please. UncensoredAlliance.com. You find everything we do there. Email us, AEW Uncensored Podcast at gmail.com. Love mail, hate mail, comments, questions, statements, whatever the fuck. Facebook, AEW Uncensored Podcast. Put it in the search bar. We have a page and a group. Like the page, join the group. We are on all third-party podcast applications: Google Podcasts, Deezer, TuneIn, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, iTunes. Please write a review on iTunes for us. Thank you, Big Dub. Apparently, we ran you off because you haven't been talking. And as always, if you want to join us live on the show, get with us on Skype. That's the only way you're going to get in as a call-in. If not, then you're not going to be able to call in. And that's about it. So,
yeah.
Alan, enjoy your dinner.
Thank you.
AEW Uncensored family, we love you. Thank you for joining us. And we will see you next week.
Peace.
Peace.